Should we lower the voting age to 16? The main arguments for and against lowering the voting age from 18, which it is in most democracies, can be put into three groups. Firstly, arguments relating to how mature 16-year-olds are. Secondly, how informed and educated on current affairs they are. And thirdly, the effect lowering the voting age would have on turnout, which is the percentage of the population that votes at each election. But first, hit the like button and subscribe for more great content. Let's get to it. Those in favour of lowering the voting age argue that 16-year-olds should have the right to vote because they are just as mature as 18-year-olds. At 16, most children have spent at least a decade in education and are well into puberty. Along these lines, 16-year-olds are just as affected by world issues, such as climate change, as any other member of society, so should have the right to vote and express their opinion. On the other hand, opponents of lowering the voting age argue that 18 is a good age because in most countries that is the age when children become adults. In the US, in most states, at 16 you can't join the military, serve on a jury, or even smoke and drink. So how on earth are you mature enough to make decisions about the direction the country is heading in? Furthermore, opponents of lowering the voting age argue that at 16 you have little to no life experience and are at risk of being swayed by teachers or parents. There is also this question of a slippery slope. Why 16? Why not lower? The next group of arguments related to lowering the voting age concerns how informed 16-year-olds are. People in favour of lowering the voting age argue that 16-year-olds are just as knowledgeable about politics as 18-year-olds, especially in the modern age with the advent of social media and the internet. Furthermore, almost all 16-year-olds are still in education, which cannot be said for all 18-year-olds, so 16-year-olds have more resources in the form of library books and teachers to educate them on current affairs and politics. Of course, this leads to the argument that they are more likely to be swayed by parents and teachers. Opponents of the voting age being lowered also argue that 16-year-olds, like young people more generally, are among the least likely in society to express an interest in politics, so are among the least informed. Those in favour of lowering the voting age argue that even if 16-year-olds are so uninformed, lowering the voting age would encourage them to become more informed, as their voice would matter more. The final group of arguments on lowering the voting age relates to the effect it has on turnout. Those in favour of lowering the voting age argue that lowering it would decrease voter apathy, and thus increase the turnout, meaning more people voting. As well as this, allowing more young people to vote would form long-term habits, leading to increased voter turnout in the long run. Opponents of lowering the voting age argue that the age 18 to 29 is one of the least likely to vote categories, and that thus lowering the voting age would have little to no effect on turnout. In conclusion, it seems that those in favour of lowering the voting age think that 16-year-olds are in the best position to start voting in terms of their access to resources, maturity, and how affected they are by world issues. Those that want to keep the voting age as it is argue that 16-year-olds lack life experience and maturity, and that they risk being pressurised to vote a certain way by the people around them. That's the voting age. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.